Who here did mess up an exit at some point? As a newer skydiver, exiting the plane stable is very important, and it's the foundation of becoming a good skydiver. So in this video, I want to give you my #1 tip to always make great and stable exit. Stay tuned! What's up, Skydivers? It's Catherine Bernier from Skydive Vibes, sharing the passion of skydiving and helping you become better and safer skydivers. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and click the little bell icon to be notified whenever we post new videos all about skydiving. First and foremost, remember that discussing with a coach or an instructor that knows you and have seen you fly is always the best reference that you can get. I'm only there to open up the discussions around improving your skydiving skills. So do not hesitate to reach out on your drop zones for specific advices. So now let's dive into the #1 tip that did help me a lot. And when I understood that, well, it was easier for me to always have the control on my exits and making sure I was stable every time. So the #1 tip is understanding the blast. So the blast simply means the relative wind. So if you don't already know it, whenever we are exiting the plane is going at a specific speed forward. So when you are exiting the plane, you got to consider that relative wind, because this is what has an impact on your stability. So knowing that, depending on the exit you're doing, you always want to think about the blast and how it will affect your exit. It seems simple, but when you really understand to work with the blast or the relative wind, being stable in your exit becomes way easier. Let me give you an example. One of the first exit that we learn about is the exit facing the relative wind. This way we are adopting the exact same position than when we are in free fall by arching ourselves and presenting our hips to the relative wind. But even that, sometimes we can feel ourselves tumbling and spinning in directions that we didn't intend to. And it all comes down to understanding the blast. Like I told you, that helped me a lot, because when I understood that, I was exiting the plane, and when I felt myself spinning in some direction, I was able to compensate for it, knowing that the blast was there. So let's say, for example, you're exiting, and then you're starting to go backward, doing kind of a backflip. What does it mean? It means that you have too much arms because the blast is coming that way. So if you're spinning in that direction, it means you don't have enough legs and your arms are taking all the relative wind. So what does that do? You start to spin backward. So whenever that would happen to me, I would just think to myself, all right, so I'm spinning, the blast is there, so I need to present my legs so that I stop that spinning movement, because then the blast will hit my legs as well. So instead of letting the blast control you, why don't you take control of your position in the blast? Now, next tip for you is that timing is important. Usually we would do a countdown when we're jumping with other skydivers. We would do that countdown to time everyone on the exit. Sometimes getting that countdown right can be confusing. So just to let you know, the way to do a countdown is simply out, in, out. This way, every skydivers know that you're gonna do a forward movement, backward, and then you're gonna go out. And usually it comes with a ready, set, go. And it's important to start by pushing out, because sometimes we get confused and we do ready, set, go, but we're not in the right direction to go. So keep in mind that it's out, in, out. That's the first thing. You gotta do the countdown the right way so that everyone knows about that. And the second tip that I wanted to give you is actually when you're inside the plane and jumping with other skydivers. So one good tip that I've learned is that being in the plane, your timing is even more important, because you don't want to hold them or being dragged outside of the plane, because that can mess up the formation. So the tip that I have for you is during the timing, so whenever you do ready, set, go, you want to do that countdown a little bit faster, meaning that when they will say go, you will already be pushing them outside of the plane. Don't push too hard, but that means that you're already ready to go out when they say go. and that gives you a better timing when it's time to exit at more than one skydiver. So try it, so when they say ready, set, go, you're already pushing when they say go, and then when everyone goes, you're at the right time. And the next thing I want to talk about is the importance of debriefing. So you've started your skydiving course or you're about to do so, and you'll learn that usually a good jump is planned before. So meaning that we're doing a briefing on the ground, explaining what we're gonna do, what will be the exit, what is the goal of the skydive, and at what altitude we are breaking off the formation. But all those elements are really important to plan in advance. That's how we are remaining safe up there. So by briefing your jump, you'll be more mentally prepared for what will happen. You'll be able to visualize and get ready, but also by practicing on the mock-up on the ground, you'll also be able to get some advice or tips from other skydivers on your techniques. So briefing, planning the jump is important, but debriefing is often overlooked. We get on the ground, everything went well, and we're just running to pack and go back up again. But at some point, you always want to be debriefing your jumps, and especially if the exit didn't go as it was supposed to go. So whether it's simply remembering what happened or if you have a video on the jump, you can rewatch the jump and do not hesitate to bring a coach or an instructor to watch that video with you to give you the right pointers and tips on how to improve. Especially talking about exits, if you don't know what went wrong, you won't be able to improve it the next time. And talking about try it again, well, do not hesitate to redo the same exit more than once. Even though the jump changes, you can redo the same exit to try to nail it perfectly. This is how you're gonna become a better skydivers, because exits are so important in the whole skydive. Some of the more advanced skydives will require you to be on time in the formation, or some of those, if you're off track for a fraction of a second, you're already way behind the formation who's already far away. Exiting is very important, and that will give the tone to your whole skydive. Talking about retrying the same exit, that brings us to the next tip that I have for you. Practice, experiment, and enjoy. So again, practice on the ground, redo the same exit to get better with it. Try to work with the wind, feel your exit. Don't try to fight against anything, the formation or the wind. Try to make it on point so that you really fly your exit. And of course, number one rule of any jump that you're doing: smile and have fun. Alright, so I hope you've learned a thing or two about exiting stable. Let me know in the comments if you did learn something, and or if you have any questions on skydiving exits. You can watch other videos from Skydive Vibes right here. And on that, keep jumping, stay safe, and blue skies.